I think that's a really important point, actually. Some of these score predictions, some fans might be going, what? But actually, the first game of the season is notorious for a few little upsets. Teams are still gelling. There's usually some transfers coming in, some nerves maybe. The first weekend of the opening season is always notorious for odd results, isn't it? So welcome back to Small Heath Alliance FC. And with the League One season kicking off this Friday, me and Dad wanted to do a video where we go through all the League One fixtures over the course of the weekend and have a little bit of a competition, really. And we're going to base it on a home win, an away win, or a draw. And we haven't consulted each other before the time of recording. So all this is going to be fresh in the room. So, Dad, the first game is this Friday. It's Barnsley versus Mansfield. What are your thoughts on that game?
So before I give my verdict on that game, it's a bit of fun. There's a lot of prediction videos that you can watch, and I quite enjoy watching those. And but just be gentle with us if you're a League One fan. We're new to League One, so the first few weeks we're going to be basing our opinions really on the way teams performed last year. And as the season starts to take a bit of hold, we'll be able to hopefully be a little bit more accurate. So you said Barnsley versus Mansfield in the first fixture, which is on Friday night. I'm really looking forward to the season kicking off. So for me, I've gone for this. I know Mansfield just promoted from last season from League Two. I've gone for a home win. I think Barnsley are a well-established League One side, and I think they'll just do it. I'm not going to sort of obviously predict the score, but I think it'll be close. But I think Barnsley will edge that one. So for me, that's a home win.
I agree. A home win for Barnsley as well. And I'm tipping Barnsley to do pretty well this season. I think they'll be somewhere between sort of 5th and 9th. So they're going to be strong at home. And again, established in this division. Mansfield are just coming up. I think Mansfield will be a sort of bottom half team, but that'll be a good season for them. I'm not tipping them to have relegation, but I am going to go for a home win on that one. And that brings on to the next game, Dad, the club that we love. That's Birmingham at home to Reading.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to go for a home win here. And that's not biased because I'm a Birmingham fan. It's because we are at home and we had 7 sellouts at St.Andrews in a relegated season last season. We won every one of them at home. So I think and as we know, the Reading game is completely sold out, not a ticket left. So I think just on the basis of that, and also as well, very impressed with the signings we've made. So for me, that is a home win.
Yeah, same again. I'm going to go home win. And both teams have had pretty good pre-seasons. I know Reading have beaten 3 championships in the pre-season. Blues have done really well as well. But I think, as you say, Dad, packed out St.Andrews. I think we've got the quality, and I'm going to go for a home win on that one as well.
Okay, so you can start the next fixture, Matt. That's Bristol Rovers versus Northampton Town. What's your thoughts on that?
So it seems like there's a bit of a pattern arising here. I've gone for another home win. I think Bristol Rovers are going to win that one. I think Northampton are going to struggle this season, if I'm going to be honest. I don't think they're going to get relegated, but I think they're going to be 2 or 3 spaces above the drop. I'm expecting quite a long season for Northampton. I'm going to go Bristol Rovers.
So you're going for home win?
Home win.
I've gone for a draw. I think that Northampton are going to suffer the loss of Mark Leonard, who, as we know, has come to Birmingham City. He did well there for the last couple of seasons at Northampton. And as you said, Bristol Rovers, a good established League One season. I think because it's the first game of the season, I think it could be one of those little cagey affairs. So I've gone for a draw.
I think that's a really important point, actually. Some of these score predictions, some fans might be going, what? But actually, the first game of the season is notorious for a few little upsets. Teams are still gelling. There's usually some transfers coming in, some nerves maybe. The first weekend of the opening season is always notorious for odd results, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that brings on to our next one, Dad, and that is Burton Albion at home to Lincoln City. What are your thoughts on that one?
I've gone for an away win here. I've gone for a Lincoln victory. I think that Lincoln have now got a reputation for being good football inside. They've got a good manager in there. Burton, I know that they've had a lot of change of players over the summer, but I still think that in that particular fixture, I think Lincoln will edge that one, so I've gone for an away win.
I think we're possibly spending too much time together because it's like our brains are aligned. I've gone for an away win.
You
on
gone
that
for an
one
away
as
win
well.
as well? Okay.
I really rate Lincoln actually, and they just missed out on the playoffs last season. I'm expecting and tipping them to do pretty well again, and I think they're going to have a bit too much quality there, and I'm going to tip that one for a Lincoln City win.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay, so that brings us then on to the next fixture, which is Crawley Town versus Blackpool.
Yeah, an away win on this one for me. I think Crawley Town, a bit of an odd transfer situation going on there. They seem to have sold a lot of their good players, but they've gone up a level with arguably less of their quality players from League Two. So I think they're really going to struggle this season, and I think Blackpool are going to have too much quality for Crawley. So an away win for me.
And I've gone exactly the same. This is weird. Just to reiterate, we really haven't spoken about this. That's the whole point of these prediction videos, that we don't want to know what the other person's thinking. And so far, we seem to be pretty similar. But I've gone for an away win. I think Blackpool are, in my opinion, going to be challenging for the playoffs. I think they'll be in sort of mid-table and playoff area, heading towards the playoffs. Crawley, as you mentioned, it's been well publicised that they've sold their better players, the players that they got promoted with. I know that they brought new players in, and in all honesty, I don't know an awful lot about the players that they brought in. So to me, I can't see anything past an away win there.
Yeah, and that brings us on nicely on to Exeter versus Rotherham, Dad. So what are
Now,
your thoughts on
this is
here?
an interesting one because I know that Exeter have done well over the last few years to establish themselves in League One. They was in League Two for years, weren't they?
Mhm.
And and they've really sort of now one of those teams that you never look at and think they're going to get relegated, but you think they could, with a decent run, push themselves up to the higher levels of the league. But they're playing Rotherham, who have come down and who we know have been well publicised. They've had a massive change of personnel. Um, on that basis, I've gone for a draw because I think that they're both decent. That'd be a decent fixture in terms of Exeter, their established League One form, and Rotherham coming down. So I've gone for a draw there.
I've gone for an away win on that one.
Away win.
I think Rotherham are going to have slightly too much quality for Exeter. And as you say, that very valid point. Exeter have really established themselves as a League One team.
Yeah.
But I still think they're going to be in the bottom half when the season's finished. Just personal opinion on that one. And Rotherham are going to want to make a statement in these early games to let everyone know that they're going to be a promotion challenger. So I think they're going to go there all guns blazing, and I think they're going to again have a bit too much quality for Exeter and away win.
So you've gone for an away win, and that brings us on to our next fixture, which is Leyton Orient against Bolton. What's your thoughts on that, Matt?
Yeah, so Leyton Orient seem to be a very stable League One team. But again, I'm dubbing them to be in and around the halfway, just below maybe, sort of in that 13th, 14th area. And for me, Bolton, I rate Bolton. I think they're going to be up there, definitely in the playoff spaces. So again, I can only see an away win there for Bolton.
You've gone for an away win,
Yeah.
okay. But now with me, I looked at this fixture. I toyed with this one a little bit. I think the obvious thing would be to say what you've done, which is an away win. But Bolton had that hangover of the playoff defeat against Oxford, and that I know it's the first game of the season. I've gone for a draw with this one. I've gone for a draw because Bolton are away. Leyton Orient, if they're going to pick up points, I suspect most of them are going to be at their own ground. So yeah, first game of the season, I've gone for a draw.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
good one. And then that brings us on to Peterborough, Dad, at home to Huddersfield. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think this is probably the standout game of the
Yeah.
in League One to me because I think they're both teams that are going to be competitive this season. Huddersfield are tipped for automatic promotion along with us and a few others actually that could be in that mix. But Peterborough seem to be playoff contention or achieving the playoffs every single year.
They've sold a lot of good players though, Peterborough, this season.
They
this summer.
have, but they're at home as well. So once again, I think that's going to be a draw as well. I've gone for a draw on that one.
Okay, I've gone for an away win. I think Huddersfield, again, no disrespect to Peterborough. I actually really rate Peterborough. And again, I think they're going to be in and around the playoffs for sure. But they have sold a few really good players this summer. The reason why I was thinking about the draw was because of the home advantage there. But again, Huddersfield, similar to Rotherham, they're going to want to come out the gates and make a statement that they're in this division and want to get up. So I think Huddersfield are going to go and win there.
Okay.
So that brings us on, Dad, to Stevenage versus Shrewsbury.
Okay, in this one as well, I've gone for a home win. I've gone for a Stevenage win. I think they did well last year under Steve Evans. They were touching the playoffs, and I think it's only about 2 or 3 games to go when they finally couldn't make the playoffs. They had a great season last season. Shrewsbury, we've seen them in pre-season already, and it's difficult to judge in pre-season. I think they're going to have a sort of season that's going to be challenging for Shrewsbury. So in this one, first game of the season, I've gone for a home win, so Stevenage victory.
Interesting. I think Shrewsbury could be one of my teams to get relegated this season. I think they're going to be in for a long season, and I don't think Stevenage are going to do as well as they did last season. I don't think they're going to be in and around the playoffs. Just again, personal opinion from what I've been hearing and reading, and I've gone for a draw on that one.
Gone for a draw.
Yeah, I got a feeling that's going to be one of those surprise ones. One of those quirky ones on the first day of the season. I got a feeling that Shrewsbury are going to get a point there.
Okay, I don't think that would be a massive surprise, to be honest, if that happened. But I can totally see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Next game we got, Matt, Stockport County versus Cambridge United.
Yeah, Stockport are dubbed to do quite well. They've
Yeah.
got a really progressive manager. They play really nice football. I reckon they'll be in around that 10 to 12 area of the table, and that'll be a really good season for Stockport coming up from League Two. And again, Cambridge, I think they're going to be in a relegation battle or definitely in the bottom half of the table. So I'm going to go for a home win on that one.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Exactly the same as you. For the same reasons, I've gone for a home win as well.
Yeah, definitely. So that brings on to our next game, Dad, and that is Wigan at home to Charlton.
Wigan and Charlton, and 2 good teams. I think both these teams are going to be in the top half of the league. Charlton, almost definitely, I think, will be challenging for the playoffs. I think Wigan are capable of doing that
Mhm.
as well. I think they
Yeah.
stabilised a little bit last season. Again, first game of the season here, so I've gone for a home win here. I think Wigan will edge this,
Interesting.
but I don't think there'll be much in that. But I've just gone for a slight advantage to Wigan.
Yeah.
So Wigan win for me.
This was one of the ones that I think you mentioned about 3 or 4 fixtures ago. You sort of went back and forth. I think it was the Peterborough game. This was my one. I couldn't really quite decide because I think we're gonna have a really good season, and Charlton are gonna have a really good season as well. So I'm gonna go for a draw. I think
Yeah.
that's got a draw written all over it. I think they'll both cancel each other out to some
I
extent.
think that's the
And
default. And if you got them in an R in,
I
go for a
mean,
draw.
exactly, yeah. And there's no doubt that Charlton and Wigan will be in and around the playoffs. Possibly Charlton a little bit higher. But yeah, I think they're both in for a good season.
Yep. Okay.
So that brings on to our final game, Dad, and that is Wrexham at home to Wickham.
Yeah, I think this is going to be publicised in terms of the Wrexham bandwagon moving on now to League One, and obviously what they've done over the last few seasons. And all credit to Wrexham.
Mhm.
They've done very well. Now in a higher league, they've made some good purchases. They've just at the time of recording, just I think yesterday signed Dan Scarr
Mhm.
from Plymouth, and they've brought other players in as well. Um, I've gone for a draw here. I think Wickham. I wouldn't underrate Wickham. From what I've heard about Wickham, they're a good footballing side, and they're going to do okay this season. I think it's a good fixture for Wrexham to have first game of the season. Obviously, as teams are finding their
Mhm.
feet, Wrexham at home with their home advantage, you think maybe they could edge it. But I've just on the basis of first game of the season gone for a draw.
Yeah, I can again keep this one short and sweet. I completely agree. I've gone for a draw as well, and I've seen a couple of games of Wickham in the preseason. They play some really nice football. In fact, they're my dark horses to be in and around, maybe pushing for a playoff spot. Maybe who knows
Yeah.
how we go as the season goes. So don't underestimate Wickham. I think Wrexham are gonna not have a shock and a surprise. I mean, they are dubbed to do still quite well, but I think they're going to find this league an extra level up from the previous 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So I'm still expecting Wrexham to be mid to top half of the table, but I don't think they'll be in the automatics or the playoff places, in my opinion. So I've gone for a draw on that one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what other fans of all the clubs think about the fixtures. So put your predictions in the comments below and let us know. And just remember, these are predictions. We're not trying to suggest that we're going to get any of these right. In fact, we're going to score these. So if either me or Matt get one right, we'll just get a point for getting it right, and we'll top them up every week. And at the end of the season, we'll have to see who's got the most. So it is a bit of fun, really. And if obviously, please take it in that context as well. But I think everybody loves predictions, and we'd love to know what yours are as well. So stick them in the comments below. But yeah, okay, Matt. So I mean, that's good for a first week, and some
Yeah.
differences there. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top this week.
So that's good for week one, Dad, and I think we're a lot closer aligned than I actually initially thought there, and it'd be interesting to see who gets the bragging rights going into week 2 next week. But as always, we'd love to hear from you. Please let us know your thoughts. And if you stumbled in across this channel for the first time and you've noticed your team be discussed, let us know your thoughts. Do you agree with some of our predictions? Do you have some predictions of your own? Please let us know in the comment section below, and we'll get round to that as quickly as we can. Me and Dad love it when you engage with us, and we get round to those comments as quickly as we possibly can. If you like this video, please don't forget, to give us a thumbs up, and please check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page and Instagram page, those handles on the screen right now. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content all about Birmingham City. And myself and Dad will see you on the next video.